Hello, 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 and welcome to another empowering episode of Chaos to Calm with Your Finances, where we learn the secrets to unblock your path to wealth. We also dig very deep into the spiritual, mental, and physical of our finances and our well-being. Here, we show you how to navigate those twists and turns of your financial journey, and we help you transform your chaos into calm so you can live an amazing life. I am Saran Baker, your guide on this incredible journey to cultivate an abundant mindset that will revolutionize your relationship with yourself and money. But it's not just me here talking to you. I want to hear from you. Be sure to say hello in the chat. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. But become a part of the incredible community by joining me and going to joinsaran.com, where you will be able to connect with other like-minded women and wealth creators who are bringing calm to their finances and creating an amazing life for themselves, their families, and their legacies. So today I have an amazing guest, or should I say a fabulous guest, that will be coming with us. And she's going to help us with our calm and our finances and learning to feel fabulous. I want to introduce you to a woman who is known as the queen of feeling fabulous, Rochele Marie Lawson. She's a successful business owner, a registered nurse, an Ayurvedic health practitioner. I always mess that Ayurvedic up. A dream lifestyle transformation facilitator, two-time best-selling author on Amazon, two-time international best-selling author, and the author of 4 other best-selling books, including the Intro to Holistic Health Ayurveda Lifestyle. She's a speaker, a radio show hostess, and she's the founder and president of Blissful Living for You, which was founded to bring wellness, wisdom, and wealth into the lives of individuals seeking a holistic path to living the life of their dreams. Listen, Rochele Marie's energy and guidance and enthusiasm have helped thousands and thousands of women to improve their wellness, wisdom, and wealth by utilizing the ancient holistic principles that unlock the access to transform your lifestyle and your health. She has been named one of the top 50 women-owned businesses in Silicon Valley and the incredible creator of the Unstoppable Women Summit. She also has her own weekly podcast, The Blissful Living Show, which is hosted on her very own podcast network. She has been a guest speaker for several and a guest writer for several blog publications, as well as featured as a core blogger for the Wellness Universe. She has been quoted in the Huffington Post, featured on Fox, CBS, NBC, as well as other large media publications. I can't tell you any more about this amazing woman, fabulous woman, because she's the queen of feeling fabulous. And I'm excited to have her here as a guest because not only is she all these amazing things, but she is a new friend, mentor, and colleague as we move into this space. So I'm excited to present to some and introduce to others the amazing and fabulous Rochele Marie Lawson. Tell everyone, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everyone hello.
Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be here, Saran. Thank you for having me as a guest on your show. I appreciate it.
I'm excited to have you.
Girl, you make me sound like I'm really all that.
Listen, I don't take credit away from anybody. If you did it and you are the bomb, I like to go ahead and call it out. It's like, we have girlfriends who like, oh, you don't have to call me doctor. Well, you earned a doctorate. I'm going to call you doctor.
I heard that. I heard all that.
So listen, Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And I love that name because it makes me feel good even saying Queen of Feeling Fabulous. Oh, so I want to know a lot. I mean, I read your bio, but that a bio is not necessarily who we are on the inside, right? It's a list of some of our accomplishments. But I want to know, tell me what made you make the pivot or that moment or that experience that set you on this path to creating a lifestyle of feeling fabulous?
So I'm the only girl granddaughter in my generation of kids, so to speak. And so I was always being challenged to step up to the plate and not be a crybaby because I was the only girl hanging out with a
Mhm.
bunch of boys. And I just always think that I had that tenacity. I may have not said it or broadcasted it, but deep down inside, I was down low competitive. I still am down low competitive. So I think with all of that and just my journey with my health and well-being, I had a 17-year journey with my health and well-being where I was
Mhm.
pretty sick. I was really good at faking it. No one would have ever
Mm.
known other than those that were really close to me. So um, I realized the importance of our health and well-being being our greatest asset. And as I built my first business, the first woman-owned minority-owned telecommunications installation company in the United States, um, that's when I realized that I needed to put some things into play to make sure that I was one not only able to feel fabulous, but to make sure that I incorporated my wellness, wisdom, and wealth into everything I do, so that I can stand in my greatness and do the purpose that I'm here to do. As my God given, my divine given calling, which is to help people, brave, bold, and unstoppable queens out there to really have the life of their dreams by making sure that they do have wellness, wisdom, and wealth. And so that's pretty much me.
I love, love, love that. And so you mentioned a 17-year journey with your health. Tell me a little bit about that journey and how that helped you to become the queen of feeling fabulous.
So my journey with my health and well-being began when I was 8, and it was stress induced. And that's why one of the things I'm really adamant about is for people to understand that stress does create chronic illnesses and disease and death,
Mm.
because I've seen it. Um, and we've got to recognize that and get a grip on it before it gets to that chronic stage. But my 17-year journey started when I was 8
Mm.
due to very stressful incidences that happened to me in a period of 6 months. And I went to numerous doctors over the course of that 17 years, and they could never diagnose me with what I had, but they were always quick to give me a prescription.
Mm.
As I, kind of ebbed and flowed, and nobody knew about stress. I mean, I grew up in the early 70s. Ain't nobody knowing about, well, nobody talking about stress or
Mhm.
stress syndrome or anything like that. But as I grew up, I was always trying to figure out a way that I could feel better. And in my teenage years, I began just doing simple stuff. I didn't know they were holistic, but I began
Mm.
doing it. And long story short, by the time I was 25, was already a registered nurse for several years, I realized what I had, and I began to go on a journey that I want to say divinely given, divinely instructed to me. And so in a course of doing a meditation, I got a download that told me 9 distinct steps that I should follow to heal myself. And it was 9 things that I was already doing. They just weren't in a succinct step. And
Mhm.
I began to incorporate those 9 steps into my life. And in 9 months, after suffering for 17 years, I
Wow.
was completely healed. No
Wow.
medicines, all holistic. And I began to explore more because I was sharing. By this time, I'm in emergency room. I'm doing trauma. I'm sharing this information with my patients, and they coming back and telling me how it's transforming their lives. And what I realized was I was practicing the principles of Ayurveda, and that just took me on a whole nother journey. And I'm going to fast forward. So years later, I was at an event, and these ladies I met, very powerful, influential ladies, said, "Girl, you always look fabulous. You always shine fabulous. You always step into the room fabulous. And you always say you're feeling fabulous. So we calling you the queen of feeling fabulous." And that's how
Oh,
it's about.
I love, love, love that.
I mean, I'm not lying. I do feel fabulous. I am on no medications. I have been around for quite a while. I would say I'm getting ready to enter into my 6th decade being here on this beautiful planet. But in my mind, I'm still 29. I still roll like I'm 29. And hey, you can't tell this queen right here that she ain't 29, because I'm going to have some words to say to you about that. 29-year-olds wish they had the energy and the well-being that I have today. And so,
I love it. Listen, my stage age is 35 and I'm sticking to it.
girl, 29. I don't know why I say 29, but girl must have had some really good times in
Yeah.
29.
Yeah. I love the journey you just shared. I recently had a minor, I call it a minor health scare because I knew I wasn't going to take the medication, right? And in my conversations with the doctors, my blood pressure had gotten really high. And I never had high blood pressure, no day in my life. And I had a car accident. So I was home. I was sedentary. I had pain. I had all these factors. And every time I went to the doctor, not one doctor said, "Hey, Miss Baker, it looks like your blood pressure is going up higher than it normally is." No one said anything. It wasn't until my blood pressure was 168 or was 72. They were like, "Oh, we need to put you on medicine." I said, "No, you don't." And they were like, "Oh, well, you need to get it down." So I said, "Okay, let me figure out how to get it down." Now, they didn't give me any information on how to get it down. So I went and found out how to get it down. And I realized that with um, the car accident I had, I was sedentary. I was already over a certain age, over 35, remember. I was already over a certain age. I was already over a certain weight. And then I had pain that was causing me not to sleep. So I had like 5 to 7 or 8 of the things that kind of push you into the high blood pressure arena. And they said, well, if you don't get this down, they gave me 3 chances. They said they had their protocol. So I had to go in every week for 3 weeks. And when I got there the third week, they were like, how did you get your blood pressure down? Because when I went the third week, it's back to 121 over 72. They were like, we don't usually have people come in here and reverse it. I said, because you told me you were going to put me on a medication that I knew was going to probably require me to take it the rest of my life. And I'm not interested in that. And they just kind of looked at me like, oh my God. Like I did everything. I stopped drinking coffee. I took more of the pain meds to reduce the pain so I could sleep. I started walking as much as I could. I did everything. I got my heart rate up. I did all the things because I refused to be on medication. Not at 35. And so I love, your journey was a little bit longer, but for me, it was scary because I know my health is my wealth. And I said, you're not going to take a part of my wealth away from me by putting me on medication that I know is going to change the composition of my body. And
Right.
so, and I did a lot of holistic things. They might have been Ayurvedic too. I, I just figured it out, right? But I love that. And you're a nurse and you do the holistic practice. So that is even more important because the doctor didn't recommend anything holistic to me. All they said was just change your diet. And I was like, there's nothing else I can do. I don't understand the medical industry's behavior. I felt like they didn't care that someone had to go on medication. I feel like it's like a path to medication.
Right. Right. Well, I am a huge advocate. So I have many degrees, and one of them is an electrical engineer. So very analytical and logical when it comes to that. But because I am a certified emergency room nurse, which is a national certification exam that you have to take, and I've been a licensed nurse for 34 years. I know the good, bad, and the ugly of getting on prescription medication. And I think a lot of times they see people come in with elevated blood pressure and they want to put them on medication. Well, the pharmaceutical industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. There's a reason why medications are pushed onto patients without explanation as to how to naturally get their health and well-being into balance. And so one of the beautiful things about Ayurveda is it treats each individual as the specific and unique individual that they are. What may be good for me may not be necessarily the regimen that you need to follow to keep yourself healthy, well, and in balance. And so, I used to tell my patients, they would come in and I'd be like, oh, well, why are you taking 5 blood pressure medications? Well, because the doctor keeps putting me on. I'm like, well, you need to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. No one should be on 5 blood pressure medications and they still have high blood pressure. There's a problem. No one should be on 2 high blood pressure medications and they still have high blood pressure issues. It's a matter of being assertive with your health and well-being, because it is the greatest asset, the greatest wealth that we have. But so many times I find, particularly African American people, do not engage in asking those questions that can be game changers for them, because 9 times out of 10 they'll say, oh, well, the doctor's busy. Not too busy for your health and well-being, not too busy for you to save your life. All it does is take one question, and it may take them 2 or 3 minutes to explain so that you understand. So no one should ever leave, I don't care what race you are, should ever leave the doctor's office without knowing exactly what they need to do to correct the issues and exactly what the medication is doing for them. It's imperative. Do not leave your physician's office if they cannot explain to you why you're on the medication, what it's supposed to do, how you're supposed to feel, and when are you going to see the turnaround and changes. If they can't explain that to you, then you may want to go see another practitioner, or you want to hold back on taking that medication.
I love that, because I feel like in that moment, I had to advocate for myself, because all the messages were, oh no, we're just going to put you in a low dose. But what is a low dose going to do for me? It'll get it down. I said, what are my alternatives? Well, you can just change. That would literally the was change your diet. And so I have a friend who's an herbalist. So I called. I said, what can I do to, what kind of herbal things can I do to reduce my blood pressure? And she gave me some things. And then I started researching. And we're in the information age. So, and I try not to be internet doctor, right? But I wanted to read and understand, like, what are these? It took probably 5 or 6 different searches, and you got to scroll 6 or 7 pages before I started getting answers that were more holistic, that were more that didn't require a pill. I got a lot of advertisements for pills, and it was one of those things where I felt very adamant about it, because unfortunately I've experienced several relatives who had high blood pressure, had diabetes, and they have Alzheimer's. And to me, I feel like they all are tied together, right? There's no way that, and these are like my great aunts, these are relatives, but it's like, how does everybody have the same thing in a pattern? And so I said, I don't want to get into a place where, that is the thing that happens. So, and that's one of the things that I try to talk to, the community about, is like, how can you advocate for yourself? And so what do you think, of some ways, other than the advocating, but what are some ways that people can find to help make sure that they are staying healthy and can feel fabulous without having to, resort to the medications or feel uncertain?
So one of the things I say is research about your familial history, particularly in the African American community. There's not information passed on generationally.
Mm-hmm.
And this information that's not passed on generationally is very important. And so, like, my dad died of congestive heart failure. I knew he was dying. I knew he was going to die the year he died. I'm a nurse. I saw the history. I saw him go from feeling fabulous to basically barely able to breathe, walking 3 steps, right? Mm-hmm. But it's this whole secrecy behind not disclosing past medical conditions of prior family members that can be beneficial to us today. So open up the dialogue with your family and ask about certain medical conditions that run in your family. My mom has rheumatoid arthritis and lupus. She's completely debilitated. She's like an infant. She can't feed herself. When you think of a newborn infant, that's my mom, except for she's not a newborn. Again, this is something that came up in the family. Now, it went generations back before it appeared in her. However, because it wasn't never talked about, it wasn't never discussed, when it came up, it was like this misnomer thing, and nobody knew how to handle or deal with it. So ask those pertinent questions from your older family members. And sometimes it's hard to get them to talk about things because, girl, however, try and pry. Ask questions when you go to your doctor's office. A lot of times they're quick to, you don't want to prescribe a medication, but ask if there's other alternative ways that you can do things to help circumvent what's going on with your health and well-being challenge at that moment in time. And don't be afraid to say no to prescriptions. Say you want to wait a minute, let me do some research. Let me try some alternative things. If they can't explain to you why and how you got this, then don't be so willing to take the medication. Oftentimes we think what the doctor says is golden and we got to follow it. But if you leave there with uncertainty and not clear about why you're taking this medication, what your diagnosis is, and possibly how you got to this point with your diagnosis, then don't be so quick to take a medication, because not all medicine is good medicine, and it may not be the right medication for you with the challenge that you're dealing with. So it's very, very important not to be dismayed or I want to say, what is the word I'm looking for? Where you feel like you don't have the authority to ask. If you don't ask for yourself, ain't nobody else gonna do it for you. You are the best advocate for yourself. If it was your child suffering out there and getting ready to get their butt whipped by somebody, you'd be all on that person, no questions asked. That's how the kind of attitude you got to have with your health and well-being. We only get one life, and our life is our destiny as to how we make it. So make sure that you are that king, you are that queen that is commanding your throne, and do not do anything where you're still left with questions, uncertainty, and unproven methodologies that have not worked for people in the past and possibly will not work for you in today's society.
I love that. I really do, because it it saddens me to have to see and witness some of the generation before us who did not feel empowered to be able to ask those type of questions because they didn't have access to the kind of information we have access to today, right? Because under any other circumstance, I probably would have been like, if I didn't have access to information, I'm like, all right, well, I'll just take the pill for a little while and,
See
go
how I
forward.
feel. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it was like something stood up and said, no, you're not going to just prescribe anything to me. You're not going to I look at my medical record like my credit report. You're not going to just put that on my medical record. Right? Some people would like only protect I protect my credit report and my medical report. Look, You're not going to put that on there. And I think that that's one of the things that we as African American women have to really feel confident in advocating, because I think that, we can get labeled, oh, she's difficult, or she's angry, or she's this, or she's that. But I'm asking questions about me.
Right.
That doesn't make me these negative words. It makes me an advocate for myself. And I think that we get mistreated in the medical industry as a whole. I had recently had my first cousin, she had a baby, and I loved watching her journey because she advocated for herself the entire process. She researched every step of that process, that she had to go to the medical doctors and everything that had to happen. And she told those doctors what she wanted to happen.
Right.
In every one of those instances, through the different processes and through the labor. So
I totally, you know what, and I'm a huge advocate when it comes to that. If you don't speak up for yourself, ain't nobody gonna speak up for you. Think about the times when you're on the playground and you got that chick, that girl. I'm gonna say that chick, that little girl that's want to challenge you, or the bully or whatever. If you don't stand up for yourself, that person, that bully, that person that want to mess with you will continue to do it over and over and over again. Once you stand up for yourself, it stops. The same thing with your health and well-being. It's your greatest asset. Think about it being your last $10 in your bank account, your last $10 in your wallet, your purse. You got to make sure that you manage that last $10 to make it last until you can get that next $10. It's the same thing that you have to do with the health and well-being. We are so apt to put it in the hands of the physician and to take what they say is golden. That's the number one mistake that we do. We give our power away when it comes to managing our health and well-being to people that don't look like us, don't really particularly, and I don't want to say don't care about us, but they don't care about us in a manner that we should be caring about ourselves. And so when you do that, you set yourself up to receive what you get. And I'm going to say that when you do that, when you turn your power over to someone else outside of you that doesn't look like you, that's just doing their job, whatever, you give up your power. And when you give up your power, it's very hard to get it back. So don't give up your power. Ask questions of your family members, older family members. Find out your medical history. You'll be surprised because things kind of come up. They might skip a generation, but they'll come up. And you don't want to be that person that has that condition that came up that was, 2 or 3 generations before you and nobody talked about it.
Right, right. Because we never talk about it. It's kind of like the movie Encanto. We don't talk about Bruno.
Right, exactly.
and and that's the thing is, and connecting the dots, because the empowerment is the theme of, the conversation here, empowering you with you spiritually, mentally, and financially. And so we want to connect that dot to how these things make you feel fabulous. So tell me some ways that you wake up every day to make sure that you can feel fabulous, that our audience can benefit from, or maybe even adopt if they, have some time, like some fabulous practices.
Well, first of all, I would say because I practice Ayurveda, I want to share with anybody watching, listening to us, that we are all unique individuals. And at that moment of conception, our body type, our unique body type, our unique essence is created. So when that egg says, "Oh yeah, baby sperm, I'm gonna let you in today, daddy," and the process begins to make the baby, that's when our uniqueness is created. And in Ayurveda, we call that creating your dosha. Your dosha is your unique body type, the composition that you have of, air, earth, water, ether, fire that dwells within you. Identical twins don't even have the same quote unquote dosha, right? So find out what your unique essence is. For me, I'm a person that's full of fire. Full of fire. Like there's good and there's bad. So fire represents transformation. I'm a transformational person, but I'm full of fire. And when my fire is out of balance, woo, woo, I could just unleash it like the volcano does and just take, just run on off. But I know I'm full of fire. So I have to do things when I'm feeling that I'm out of balance to make sure that my fire stays in balance so that I can ebb and flow gracefully down my path to bliss. Now, there's also aspects of the dosha called, so there's pitta, that's me, full of fire. There's vata, full of air, and there's kapha, that's full of earth and water. When you know your unique composition, then you can curtail things to help your composition stay in balance. And when you're in balance, you're free of all illness and disease, and there's no gateway for illness or disease to come in. So on my website, blissful living, the number 4, the letter U.com, you can go and take a dosha quiz and find exactly what your unique dosha type is, the type of foods you should be eating to make sure that your body stays in balance. Other practices such as meditation or different yoga practices or exercises to help you stay in the ebb and flow, and things that you can do to make sure that your mind stays balanced. When my pitta fire gets out of balance and it's in my mind, my kids can tell you some stories. Customers of mine can tell you some stories, but when I know that I'm out of balance, then I can course correct to make sure that I stay in balance as I ebb and flow and communicate with the world. So that would be my first thing to suggest. The second thing is, don't take everything that someone else is doing and think it's going to work for you. Again, it goes to that unique composition that you're made of, created of the universal energy and all the things that made up this universe, right? So, if someone else is having issues with congestive heart failure or diabetes, don't assume that what they're doing is going to work for you. And that is medication, not medication, the foods they're eating and the foods they're not eating. Once you have your unique essence and find out what that is, it's so much easier to get incorporated into your life, the things that will help you to stay balanced and to manage your disease processes efficiently and effectively for you. So That's one other thing I would suggest. And then the other thing that I would suggest is, of course, practice meditation.
Mhm.
Meditation is so good in so many ways. Not only um, is it a great way to start your day, there's many ways that you can do it, but it also helps to keep you in a balanced state. And we all know we got jobs, we got careers, we got family responsibilities, business responsibilities. There's always going to be something that throws you off kilter, or wait, tries to throw you off from feeling fabulous. But when you practice some of the things such as meditation, yoga, eating the right foods for your dosha, recognizing when your unique dosha body type is out of balance and doing the things to incorporate to bring it back into balance, you're able to ebb and flow down your path to bliss much easier, much more successfully, and to get to where you want to be a lot smoother than if you don't know that. So my one thing, I guess, that back to the number one thing is find out what your unique essence is. Find out what your dosha is, and from there it begins a whole new different journey and a whole new different perspective in how you manage your health and well-being and every essence that involves your business or your life.
I love that. You're gonna make me go take the quiz again. I feel like I did that quiz before, and I think I was Vata with a high pitta, but I have to look at it. I still have the paperwork, but I'm gonna take the quiz again because it doesn't hurt to do it again. Because as we grow and evolve, things might, things shift as we behave a little bit different. But I love those tips. And my favorite part, because that also applies to finance, is that the answer for me might not be the answer for you, but only a piece of it may apply to you because I know, and I talk to people about it all the time. Every financial plan is not the fit for every person. And that's the same thing with health. So I love that. So I want to know about the future of feeling fabulous. I want to make sure that um, my people can connect with you in a unique way. And if it's a book, if it's a website, if it's your podcast, I want to make sure that they can get connected with you in the future, so if they need some tips and tricks on feeling fabulous and getting themselves in place, they can get in touch with you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. So, you know what? You brought up a huge point that I want to make because this was supposed to be about finance. And, we know finance, our health and wellness is our greatest asset. It's the greatest financial aspect that we can have. But when you know your unique dosha, your unique body type, you begin to understand the differences of how me as a pitta will handle my finances and what I need to do versus someone that's a vata or a kapha. And also they find out how they need to handle their finances so that you can learn and streamline into your life how to create that generational wealth that you can leave for your future family generations,
Now
right?
that I didn't know.
Oh,
I
girl,
did not know. I
yes.
did not know that.
Yes, it's the way we handle our processes when it comes to the essence of your unique dosha, whether it's business, life, your health and well-being, your mindset, your money, it all there's a distinctness that each dosha does and what they need to do to make sure that all of their wellness, wisdom, and wealth is in a balanced and harmonistic state. That's just it. So you can find my podcast, Blissful Living for You. I'm sorry, the Blissful Living podcast. It's on my YouTube channel. I have two of my books back here, The Unstoppable Woman's Manifesto, and it really is about utilizing the very 12 principles that queens that have sustainability and have built and commanded their empire utilize to build and command their empire for many, many years. And I've utilized those principles to build and command not one business, but two for many, many years, very successfully. And then my other book here, The 365 Days of Affirmations for a Year of Bliss. I'm a huge proponent of using affirmations. I began using them when I was 10. So 2 years after I began my medical journey, my undiagnosed medical journey, where I had my first pelvic exam at the age of 9, and the doctor didn't have instruments small enough to examine me and didn't really know what to do with a 9-year-old that was having abdominal pain, right? So I've used affirmations for a long time. And in this particular book, affirmations are not just affirmations. There's an intention for each day so that you create a bliss for that day. And you can create a year of bliss every single year that ebbs and flows with whatever you want to do in this life. And so, other than that, I'm on social media all over the place. I've got a brand new show getting ready to be aired in March called Bold Unstoppable Women. And I have a Bold Unstoppable Women's community. And the community is about community connection and collaboration. Together, sisters, I don't care what race you are, together, when we come together in a spirit of harmony, collaboration, network, support, unity, we become the change agents to make the world a better place. And it's all about us becoming that solidified, congruent, beautiful piece of work that goes across the world and make the changes that need to be implemented to make the world a better place, particularly when it comes to women, women's rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, equal pay, equal opportunities, and being listened to and not having our rights taken away from us that we fought so hard to get. So I'm all over the place. I'm a rebel. I might be a queen, but queens are rebel. And yeah, this queen of feeling fabulous. I'm a rebel, but I will definitely not steer you wrong when it comes to being that voice to empower others so that they can step into the essence of you serving them with your divine purpose and your divine mission here.
Listen, queens get what they want. I don't know. I mean, in the United States, we never had kings and queens, but
say Queen B. Okay, I'm just saying. Look at B. Okay,
queens get what they want. I mean, if we were overseas where they had the monarchy, if the queen wanted it, the queen got it. Which is probably why we have laws like eminent domain, like you can't just come take over somebody's house and all that. Because, before the settlers got here, that's what was happening, in England. And so, but we're here and our queendom is a loving queendom, right? And so,
and we want to see everybody succeed. Because when we rise, when that top balloon rises, that balloon bouquet, we all rise. It doesn't matter. At the bottom of that balloon bouquet, you still gonna rise, right, to your greatness. So
yes. Well, I'm thankful for you coming. Hopefully you will come back again in the future, because I learned so much or was reminded of so much. And I know my audience was reminded of so much. And these are the things. And the big takeaway is, I want to have folks like you on, because when you feel fabulous, you can move in your path to get to your wealth. You can feel confident to go ask for that promotion. You can feel confident to go file the LLC paperwork and do what you need to do and put yourself out there to, to maybe become a podcaster or to talk about your business in a way that will bring clients to you. Feeling fabulous allows you to attract other people to you that will want to work with you and can help you build your wealth. And so that's why I know it's important to connect with women like you who are not only fabulous, but you teach others to be fabulous. Because some people go learn how to feel fabulous and go about their business. They don't spread the word. But we are evangelists of financial, physical, mental, and spiritual wealth and health. And so that's why I wanted to be sure that we were able to connect. So I thank you so much for coming. I'm going to close out the show, but I thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait for you to come back, because we're going to dig into some more topics.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you and the opportunity to be here to just share a little wisdom with your audience. It's been fabulous.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of going from chaos to calm with your finances. We talk about chaos being can't handle any obstacle sent, and calm being control, abundance, legacy, money mastery. And today we were on an incredible journey to learn how to feel fabulous with the Queen of Fabulous and get some clarity on how that we can get to the place where we can build our wealth in a sustainable way. So I hope you remember this. This journey is not just for me, it's for all of us. I want you to empower other sisters by sharing and liking and subscribing so that we can continue to spread this message, so we can have more women with the abundance, the wealth, and the health to live the life that they deserve and the life that God has promised them when they came into this world. So thanks again, and I'll see you later. It's your girl, Saran Baker. Peace, love, and light. Let's get your money right.